You're watching Pyro.
I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. Oh, I can't let them take my soul. Nah, 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 no. See, we was cool right before it hit your fist, but it hit the fan when I got him down and pinched. But I took a break, I had to leave and go get cleansed. God forgive me for all my sins. I can't say these cause my last name ain't Kent. Cooking on the stove, that's the way he paid the rent. Working on the pole, that's the way she pays tuition. Better watch your soul, cause you know they trying to get it. Yeah, yeah. I learned my right from wrong on the song. I let my heart bleed on my sleeve through microphones. I'm trying to right my wrongs by writing out my wrongs.
Hello,
Ran through a check, cause it's hard to live off bread alone.
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience with us is fruitful. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. And we do hope you consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
And you better talk to me nicely. Next to blow, little bitch, I might be. Oh, can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice we know. Talk to me nicely. I noticed they hit it, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice we know. We on top, flipping the bird, they going sick. But I'ma make a meet every.
Hey, everybody. It is I Hope Giselle, and I am back with another episode of I Have Thoughts. And in case you are wondering, today we are indeed live. Okay, we live. We live out here in these streets, and I am live with y'all. Now, there have been a lot of different things to talk about, to cover, to discuss, to dismantle, to unpack over the last week or so. And this week is no different. But I got to take y'all back to bring y'all forward because there's been a lot of fuckery as it pertains to the folks over at the WNBA, people that are playing basketball, women, girls. We heard about Angel Reese. I talked exclusively about Angel Reese on other parts of my platforms. But today, I got to have a conversation about Caitlin Clark. Okay. Now, in case y'all didn't know, Caitlin Clark is a part of this controversial beef that does not exist between her and Angel Reese and like all of these other basketball girlies. Caitlin Clark was the #1 WNBA draft pick. And in case y'all did not know, that's a huge deal. It's just as big as the NBA or the NFL draft picks, especially as it pertains to women. And specifically this year, because women have not necessarily had people pay attention to any of these numbers before. And so the idea that on the year where this is actually a thing, where people are actually paying attention, that Caitlin is, Miss Numero Uno as it pertains to the conversation. I love the idea that, Little Miss Mamas is getting her gots. The problem is these numbers and the math are not mathing. For her first year's salary in the WNBA, she's only going to be making $76,535. Now, not to put y'all in my bank account, but I make more than that. There's no reason why Caitlin Clark, who has proved herself time and time and time again on the court, and I actually want y'all, I'm going to actually ask for the producer to make this photo bigger so y'all can see the number that the NBA #1 draft pick got. The NBA #1 draft pick got $12.6 million. Caitlin is not even making more than a woman who does consulting, speaking gigs, and works at a nonprofit. Like to sum it up, with what my jobs typically are, that's what I do. And I make more than a first round WNBA draft pick by more than a couple thousand. There's something that's a problem with this. When we think about the ways in which we are think about ways that we're expecting athletes to show up on the court, when we're thinking about ways that we're expecting athletes to just, really show improve their talent on a yearly basis, week by week, month after month, like all of the things that these people do, regardless of your gender, regardless of your sex, regardless of your orientation, everybody should be getting the same amount of money. And especially as it pertains to being picked up or especially as it pertains to being picked up or as it pertains to people, being able to have the same level of opportunity. And I just don't feel like I'm seeing the same level of opportunity here. We are not seeing a space where Caitlin and all of the other, women in basketball and in the WNBA are seeing numbers that are running on a parallel with their male counterparts over at the NBA. And people can talk about the idea that it's not because people aren't watching or whatever the case may be, but I beg to differ, considering that we know for a fact that this is a problem and we only know about the problem because people watched it. So when we think about this idea of, female sports is entertaining, so we don't want to put that much money into it. Female sports don't bring people out. Angel Reese was trending for 3 days because of her showing emotion. So for us to continuously act as if women in sports don't sell seats and aren't selling seats or haven't sold seats, it's not because they weren't entertaining. It was because the NBA, patriarchy, white supremacy, and the men with the dicks and the powers that be at the top decided that women's sports were not important, decided that women's sports didn't deserve the the promotion and all of those different things. People in power decided for the audience and the group of folks that were watching these things that women were less entertaining and therefore deserved less money. And now that we have a social media world that is going out of our way to support these games, show up at these games, create TikTok content and Instagram content, and make YouTube videos about how these games are actually just as competitive, if not more competitive than the male featured sport. Now folks want to try to play, things to the left and act as if, okay, well, this is our justification. But considering that there are hundreds and millions of dollars of a difference for a first round draft pick, a number 1 draft pick, we're not talking about, Caitlin is going up against people who have been doing this for years. They both have the same ranking, the same title. All that is different is the lane by which they are playing, which is, WNBA versus NBA, and we're seeing millions of dollars worth of difference. At the very least, they should be able to fund these women with $300,000 to start. And that is just to start. If male basketball players are coming in with a proposed ideation of $12.6 million to be a first round draft pick, I'm going to say that it's less of an insult, still an insult, just less of an insult if you at least start me off at $250,000. $500,000. So like you've really got to bring me into the fold in a way that doesn't seem like you completely just want to spit in my face and tell me that it's raining. And I feel like a number like $76,000, close to maybe like we gonna say 77, but then after they take the taxes out of most of that, and after it's split up between all of these different years. And so I want to break this down. I want to break this down for the people that don't understand how her salary is likely going to be split up. She's going to get that over the course of the next 4 years. And so that money isn't even going to really matriculate into her account all at once, which means she's going to have to take a tax cut on all of that money 4 separate times, which means by the time she's done with it, she's really not even getting $76,000. Caitlin is going to be living off of the same salary that somebody that, let's say, is an executive director at a for-profit business would be making. And that depends on if the executive director is doing something that is a startup or if it's something that's been already in fruition for the last couple of years, which again, for a first round draft pick of any kind, that's ridiculous. There's no way on God's green earth that y'all saw those numbers and that y'all thought that those numbers were fair. There's no way on God's green earth that the double standard does not hit as hard, but Y'all are going to continue to gaslight us and tell us and give us all of the mansplaining in the world to justify why this is okay. You're going to say that, oh, well, this is the first year that people actually paid attention. Next year we'll do better. Next year is too late because Caitlyn is living like a college dorm dropout right now, right this second. And it's not to say that she doesn't have and cannot get, and that the visibility of being in the WNBA is not going to propel her in a way that's going to be good for her. But it is to say, y'all got to do better. Because it is so clear and evident that you don't respect these women in the way that you respect their male counterparts. And if we didn't have proof before, Caitlyn Clark's situation being so public has definitely made it known now. And I think that there has to be some consequences for what it looks like to do this on both sides. There needs to be someone at the WNBA who is held accountable for not advocating for better equitable pay for these women, and then somebody at the NBA who is held accountable for the idea that they are even giving a first-round draft pick this type of money when the men who have been in first-round draft picks have historically been known to fuck up the bag and not even really be able to play half the time. So there's that. That's my 2 cents on that. And now I want to bring you all what I think folks thought was going to be some comic relief, but it ain't. And some of these pranks have got to stop. But I'll let y'all look at it first, and then we'll discuss.
What the is you?
So I've been trying to like figure out what I want to be. So I don't know if I want to transition. I don't know if I want to stay like what I am. If I want to be Brianna today and Brian tomorrow, it's okay.
I had a Brian, not a mother Brianna. Bow, bow. Look at me. Ooh. Then man had Brian, not Brianna. You already got a Brianna, you got a Katina. Take it off.
I'm not taking nothing off. I'm not.
You look good. I don't care what you mad. I don't. Oh my God.
I don't care. I'm walking around like this because I'm banging. I look good. I'm outside, baby. It's hot girl summer. You know what Megan said?
Megan told
you right. Brush me, sister girl. Brush me.
Sister girl.
Brush me. He's now.
Hey, you.
He's now sister girl.
Yeah, I'm.
And you approve of some like this.
He looks.
And your supporters are some dumb.
Let me tell you.
Because they will tell you anything. Why won't they just tell you look a hot mother man?
You ain't see my Instagram post? I said, look.
That Instagram.
They said you look good, Brian. I said, how do y'all feel if I let my mom
say y'all look like each other?
Yeah, the girl said that.
I don't look nothing like that with no problem.
Baby, if anything, I look better. If we're gonna be real and honest. Yeah.
You look a hot mess.
Where's my brush? Be for real. Where's my brush?
Brush?
Oh, right. Brush me, sister girl. Brush me. Do me right. I ain't got no.
You look a mess, and I would love for you to take that mother.
You can't accept me, then don't take that off. For real.
Y'all, this video goes on for another, I want to say like a minute and 30 seconds or so, or maybe like 45 seconds. But the fact of the matter is that people making jokes like this, not understanding the real world congruences for trans people is the problem. Trans people are not above jokes. We're not above reproach. We are not off the table as it pertains to getting hee-hees and ha-has up off of, right? But there is something that is triggering to this experience because in the comments, even in the comments of Gay Magazine, who originally posted this video, at least where I initially saw it, there was a person whose question jumped out at me, and his question was, so if he had been passable or pretty, that would have made a difference. And I want to, production main screen me so that I can really bring this home to the people. What a lot of you folks don't understand is that, yes, for a lot of parents, it does matter if you pass or if you're pretty or if you're going to be able to walk down the street in what they believe is a comfortable manner based on how you present. Because what I will say is that I got a lot more backlash and a lot more pushback from my mom during the early stages of my transition before she saw it for me than I did after she started to see it for me. And I think that there's something really interesting that needs to be unpacked there as it pertains to parents in the acceptance of transgender children. A lot of parents don't like it when you initially come out because they don't see the vision. They don't understand the way that surgeries can work if the way that hormones work to do things or whatever the case may be. It's not just like the shock that your child wants to do something different. There's this ideation of shock around not liking the person that you think your child is going to look like should they continue to go down this journey. Now, what I do want to say in the most shadiest of manners is that no tea, no shade, mama. Without the wig, I'm probably sure that you and your baby are twins. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really not giving that much of a far off look for you to be sitting up to talk about somebody looks disgusting and crazy. Cause I mean, it's giving evil twin. Like, I don't understand how you don't see it. Cause I definitely saw it with the wig on. So I know without the wig and some red hair and a good lipstick and a lash, girl, y'all are like, it's giving, right? Like, you can't, the pot should not be calling the kettle black in this moment. But I think that what people miss about this, and folks are upset because they're just like, oh, y'all trans people are so sensitive. Y'all are X, Y, and Z. These moments are not funny moments for us. These moments are real moments that real people have to go through. And while this person is not a trans person that is actually coming out to his mom, these are conversations that trans girls, trans black women on a daily basis have to go through and have to deal with. And the ignorance in this conversation and the insinuated violence in this conversation, the idea that the mom didn't even want the brother to support his sibling in this situation. Like, y'all think that this is funny. Y'all think that this is a kiki ha. And it's just like, when you have these moments where the people who are supposed to love you unapologetically find out pieces about who you are or who you have the capacity to be, and not only do they want to rid themselves of you, they want everybody in their vicinity to also rid themselves of you. That ain't a joke. That's not funny. That don't hit the way that y'all think that it hits. And I think that y'all miss the idea of super and hypersensitivity with the idea of trauma and things that can be triggering. The same way that we don't like the idea of people continuously making these slave-ass movies and people continuously playing Sambo and people going out of their way to do blackface with makeup and wearing too much tan, then going in and like, putting on the right shade in the middle of the video because they knew what the fuck they were doing. Those things are trigger responses. So as TGNC people, as transgender and gender nonconforming people who often have had to have this conversation more than once with our parents, because usually you come out as queer or gay first or lesbian first or whatever the case may be, and then you have to turn around years later, months later, some of us days later, and have this same conversation again with your parent to let them know that actually what I thought was happening here also isn't happening. There is something that is wild about the fact that y'all will see people online having these conversations and see how bad they go for some of us and hear how bad they go for some of us, and then make a skit like this and then have the nerve to be upset when trans people feel touched by it. And it's because it's insensitive. It's not because what he did wasn't outrageous and slightly giggleable. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I looked at the mess that he looks like, and if I look at the idea of the way that he's like, over exaggerating things, yes, I can even find a giggle in this video. But what I can't get past is the ideation that all of mom's reactions were real. And I think that had she felt for any second, any moment, at any point in time in that video, that his coming out was a real one, I'm not necessarily sure that this would have been as funny for him as he thought. Had he not taken a real funny approach to it, had he not gotten in the car and been swinging and dipping and doing all of the things and just simply said, Mom, this is how I'm going to be, this is how I'm going to show up in the world, that would have been a very likely hard skit to continue to do, because the violence, the disrespect, the belittling that happens in spaces like that when you are seriously trying to have a conversation with your mother specifically around your gender identity and she is non-receptive to it, those things are hurtful. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about these two topics in the comments. Let me know if you feel like Caitlyn should be getting more money, like all female athletes should be getting more money. And let me know if you think that this prank was funny or if I'm just being sensitive and trans people need to get a grip on life. I'll be right back after this commercial break, and I'll see y'all soon.
Talk to me nicely. Next to blow, little bitch, I might be. Can't forget all the days they overpriced me. So now that we
Elevate your entertainment with Watch Vim. Discover the ultimate online streaming destination. Get an auto-renewing monthly subscription for unlimited content on all devices. Join us in supporting a Black-owned streaming platform that brings top-tier entertainment. Let the streaming excitement begin at Watch Vim, your seamless experience for endless entertainment. Stream online or download the Watch Vim app now.
Are you ready for enlightening conversations that transcend boundaries? Get ready for Conversations with Clergy, brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. In partnership with the world's largest publicly funded international collaboration, the HVTN is dedicated to evaluating vaccines to prevent HIV and COVID-19, but their impact doesn't stop there. The HVTN is at the forefront of advancing vaccinology, social and behavioral sciences, statistics, immunology, and even contributing to the research on tuberculosis and COVID-19 vaccines. By supporting Conversations with Clergy, the HVTN not only brings you thought-provoking discussions, but also contributes to the global effort to combat infectious diseases. Tune in, stay informed, and be a part of the change. Conversations with Clergy, supported by the HVTN, empowering conversations, empowering lives. Join us in this journey of knowledge, understanding, and progress. Conversations with Clergy, proudly brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, because together we can make a difference.
Catch the electrifying sounds of Bulletin Flight Radio anywhere you go? Yes, you heard it right. Tune in to the high-flying beats and soaring melodies by downloading the TuneIn app on your mobile device. Just search for Bulletin Flight Radio and hit play. It's that easy. And if you have a smart device like Alexa or Google, just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn." Experience the rush of adrenaline wherever you are. Listen to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn using your Alexa or Google devices. Soaring through the skies has never sounded this good. Don't miss out on the ultimate musical journey. Tune in now to Bulletin Flight Radio on TuneIn and let the music take you on an unforgettable ride. Get ready to elevate your listening experience. Brought to you by Bulletin Flight Radio.
I noticed they hit it, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't get it.
Hey, everybody. It is I, Hope Giselle, and I am back with the rest of our episode today for I Have Thoughts. And if you missed the first half, we talked a little bit about Caitlin Clark and her payment disparity. We also talked a little bit about what it means to actually have pranks that are not so funny, especially as it pertains to the LGBTQIA plus community, specifically with a zoom in lens on Black trans women. You can watch those other sections of it if you do the replay, but now we got to get into something a little bit more juicy. Take a look at this video and let's talk.
It's the purse. Man bags, whatever. I'm old school. When I was growing up, I ain't seen no niggas with no purses. Like, if they had money, guns, everything, it's in their pocket, in their shoes, they weed in their drawers, whatever. Like, no. Niggas, when I was growing up, niggas wore like 3 pair of shorts just in case they got run from the police, take that shit off. Never. Something, never a purse. Don't come up here with no goddamn purse.
Out here talking to some shy female. They couldn't even get somebody looking good at.
But then cisgender women will ask, where are all the men with emotional understanding of themselves? They will ask trans people and queer people how they are a part of Black men specifically, doing harm to Black queer people. They will do things like this, say things like this openly, but then turn around and question how they come up in the conversation when people end up bullied and dead and beat up and dismembered, floating down the river somewhere, when they do things like this, because they feel like, well, I'm not directly telling him to go and hurt you. I'm not directly telling him to go and beat you up. I'm not directly telling him to X, Y, and Z. But videos like this are things that Black men see, and they understand the way that in order to keep access to women, and quite frankly, I'm a girl's girl, but there are some bitches that I wouldn't fuck with, and I just wouldn't fuck with this bitch. And not because of just her, not just because of her thoughts around men who wear bags or purses or whatever the case may be, but because I can tell in the tone and the type of men that she's describing as her type that we're not the same type of girl. Right. And there's something that's very interesting to me about the men who see women like this. You wouldn't even date a woman like this. And then you allow these women to then dictate how you treat other people in your life. Because even though you wouldn't date her, even though she wouldn't be on your hit list, she's on your spank bank list. She's the bitch that you still gonna double tap her pictures, even though you know she ignorant. And you still like the ideation that if you did enter a space with her, that she would want to go there with you. And so now there's a small piece of you that is tweaking who you are as a man in order to appease to women like this, because you've seen that women like this don't like certain aspects or certain things. Now, let me be very personal and very clear about the fact that my mama has this same rhetoric, and I think that is ignorant. I think that is just stupid. I think that if a man wants to carry whatever the fuck bag he wants to carry, that's his fucking business, right? And I don't think that it makes him any less of a man. I don't think that walking around with 3 pairs of basketball shorts and a funky musty ass dick makes you a man. Like, I don't think, like, all of these things that like when I was growing up, guys used to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, but you was growing up with obviously the wrong type of dudes. Because if you're solely dating men based off of their capacity to hold 5 or 6 different guns, the loud pack, and a couple of pieces of illegal fucking contraband, are we is this your queen? These are the bitches y'all trying to impress by not wanting to associate with gay men, by not wanting to just do you, by not having your own swag. But what I loved about this situation, and I'm not sure how it turned out on the back end, I would have loved for the young gentleman to be able to, or for us to see his opinion without her in the room. I don't want him to respond to her. I want him to respond to the behavior. Because what bothered me, but what also kind of made me proud in that moment, was that the young man didn't even feel the need to justify that bullshit with a retort or a response. She said, no, the purse, and he turned around. And what I'm going to hope happened is this man felt too big about himself to argue back and forth with a bitch about how he wants to carry his things while he's maneuvering through this world. Everybody should not have to wear a fucking JanSport backpack. People like fashion. They like things that match with their clothes. People like the vibes. They like Instagrammable moments. And these are not just moments and things that are reserved or should just be reserved for women. Men want to style it up too. Men want to be picture ready too. They don't want to have to take off a 40-pound fucking tortoise shell in order to get the flick, right? And I think that there is nothing wrong with that, nor does it say anything about his actual masculinity. And y'all are quantifying masculinity into inanimate objects, into everything except the idea of someone who was born male, accepting that and maneuvering through the world in that truth. That is masculinity. That is what makes you a man. That is the end all be all. Being born male, being a person who understands or ascribes to that moniker, or being somebody that genuinely understands that without the idea of walking in and walking through and exuding masculinity or things that are typically given to malehood. There are so many ways to describe and define masculinity. What we wear ain't got shit to do with it. Who we sleep with ain't got shit to do with it. The job that we decide that we want to take interest in ain't got nothing to do with it. So whether you're a ballerina, a drug dealer, or a football player, if you are a man because you said that you were a man, because you're a man, because you told me you was a man, times a man, then guess what, my love? You a man. I'm not arguing with you about it. If I don't like men that wear purses, I don't like men that wear purses. But I'm not going to compare you to other men who are surely not doing any better than this man with the purse. Because ain't no drug dealer, thug dealer, all of these niggas that wear 3-4 pairs of basketball shorts coming on this show if he's really about the life that you claim that you want this man to be about. Because if I'm serving up dope and if I'm wearing 3-4 pairs of basketball shorts, I don't have time to be on a social media show coming to check for you at all, shawty. So if you really like those types of men, go and put yourself in their environment, sis. Why you came on this show to meet men when you know that the type of men that you like and the type of men that you desire are not likely there? They're running from the police. So go run with them. Go run with them for a couple of months. Go run with the wolves, sis. And come back and give us the report of how it feels to be running around with men with 3 and 4 pairs of basketball shorts, toting guns and contraband. And then I would love to see you look at the man with the purse and see if your response would be a little different after running around in the areas where the men that you clearly like are actually dwelling. Because if you want those types of men, you're not going to find it on that show, regardless of whether or not they're carrying a purse. And don't let the posturing of the other men who are clowning him because you decided to make him the topic of discussion in the negative. Don't let that fool you either. Because a lot of those men will get up in front of your face and smile in your face, knowing that they have 3 or 4 man bags at home. And today was just not a day that they chose to wear one themselves. And I think that when we talk about these issues and when we bring these things up, we have to be mindful that all of these things are a trickle-down Reaganomics motherfucking system of how and why Black men usually and often inflict violence on LGBTQIA plus people within their own community, specifically Black trans women. And a large part of it comes from the ridicule that they get from Black cis women. And until y'all own up to your portion of that conversation, we gonna forever be in shackles around this issue. Point blank, period. Now, speaking of owning up to things, bitch, Beyonce said I'm sick of y'all hoes. Roll the clip. Okay. Now, we didn't want to get sued by Beyonce and her people. So Beyonce woke up this morning and said, I got time, right? Now, personally, and I know some of y'all are still going to try to get me together, I know that money still be moneying. No tea, no shade. I know that money still be moneying. And, you know, this video still feels kind of filtered. I feel like certain cuts and things are just not doing it for me. I'm gonna let her have this, but no tea, no shade, y'all. It's still giving that. I don't know. And I don't want the Beehive to disown me, but I don't know. When you are as private and as curated as Beyonce is, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't really trust a lot of things that she does. And it's just because I also know that with immense amounts of money comes immense amounts of access to things that other people don't even know exist. And some of this is, I don't know, some of it just doesn't feel realistic to me. And I feel like it's very strategic in the way that it's done. But I could be wrong. But mother woke up and said, bitch, y'all want to see the inches? Y'all want to see my hair? Here we go, right? Y'all want to see how it look? Here it go. But I also want to say that in all the years of all the yearsing, that hairline is too motherfucking straight and perfect. And if you have not had a weave or a piece, Beyonce has definitely had some plugs and things and some hair replacement, something all up in there. I don't know a single, and I know some of the most hair conscious beauty gurus in the world. I've never seen anybody's hairline just give that straight across lace front look like that without assistance, right? And so, you know, like I'm still picking it apart. Like nothing is ever going to be good for any of us. I think that until, you know, we physically put our hands in Beyonce's head ourselves, like we're always going to be a little skeptical. We're always going to be like, bitch, that's that like 3,000 lace that nobody don't know about, bitch, and it's just glued to perfection, you know? Like we're always going to have our doubts about this lady. And there's always just going to be all of these like hard to believe moments. And I think that it's because, to what a lot of people were saying even before this video came out, Beyonce has created this an anonymity or I know the word that I want to say, I just can't pronounce it right now. But she's created this sense of, you know, like there's this distance, right, between her and the fan base. And while I do think that this video was her taking a stab at trying to be more personal and, you know, using the slang, like if we were able to listen to the sound, I'm sure that you have already seen it. But for those of you all who haven't and want to listen to it with the sound, if you go to Beyonce's page and you listen to it, you'll hear that like even the way she's talking is like she's trying to be more relatable. Like she listened to what we said. She heard the feedback and she was like, okay, y'all want me to be sister girl? Y'all want me to be more down home? Y'all want me to be da-da-da-da-da? Y'all want to see my hair? I'm going to try to slap it in all of these. Like, I'm going to slap all of those qualities in this one video. And it's like, honestly, I think that that's a part of the reason why it's not doing it for me is because all of those qualities are trying to be compiled into one video versus her just doing a silent video with some music and having Neil do the hair or whatever the case may be. No voiceover, just Neil doing the hair, a little instrumental of, you know, like maybe bucking, you know, or something like that playing in the back. And maybe like the last 10 seconds, she's just like, you know, I heard, I saw, you know, X, Y, and Z, sacred, go get you some. Like, I don't feel like this was the moment to try to like utilize all of the tools that the kids told you to gather and put them into one video. But if I am to believe that this is all of Beyonce's her, if I am to believe that this is, you know, all of these strands belong directly to her, regardless of whether or not she's had a hair transplant to fix thinning edges and all of those things, what I will say is that it's still, I'm sorry, y'all, but the relatability of this product for me is still not there because people are it's going to have the same effect that Ivy Park had on people. People didn't necessarily buy Ivy Park because they thought Ivy Park was the shit. People bought Ivy Park because they thought Beyonce looked good in Ivy Park and they wanted to emulate and feel like Beyonce made them feel when we looked at the pictures in our own personal Ivy Park. That is the thing that Beyonce's branding team is missing. If Beyonce does not thoroughly attach herself to the brand and give visual and give us the Beyonce aspiration, her brands don't do well, which is the reason why a lot of the later collections of Ivy Park didn't do good because Beyonce didn't wear them. Every single collection that Beyonce wore and did an actual rollout for, people were at the store. They were heavily talked about. There were so many pictures you couldn't even count. Everybody named Mama wanted to become an Ivy Park model. It was a huge deal as long as Beyonce and the aspirational images were there. The second that Beyonce was not a part of it, the second that the rollout didn't have no Queen Bey image to it, the entire thing tanked and flopped. And I feel like now that you've done this and we've bullied Beyonce into this space of like, show us your real hair, now that we've bullied her into this space, people like, very much so like Rihanna with Fenty, are going to want to see Beyonce using this shit all the time. And I think that for certain things, yes, it's okay to drop and break that anonymity. I gotta really like anonymity. I gotta figure it out. I know the word, I know how to pronounce it, but it's just like escaping the fuck out of me. But people are, you know, like people want to break that But the thing about it is, now that you've broken that seal, people are going to expect that. And Beyonce, you know, you're not giving that, right? And I think that while it's really nice and while it's dope and while it definitely is going to boost sales, and I think that it already has, I've seen a couple of people on my platform already say like, okay, well, now I'm convinced. It also is a thing where it's just like, but are you prepared to continue to do this for every other brand that you plan on launching, right? Because I do think that Sacred is going to get bigger. I think that she's going to turn Sacred into like a black hair care. You know, I think that that's what Beyonce is going to go for. And there will eventually be like a more affordable version of Sacred that will live in the hair stores and things of that nature. But also we know that Beyonce has a patent pending for like beauty and, you know, like more clothes and things of that nature. And it's just like, if you are really going to try to go this route, is this something that you're going to keep consistent? Because Rihanna is going to wear some Savage Fenty and she's damn sure going to put them lip glosses on and give us a makeup tutorial every, you know, 10 to 15 business days. And I just don't know if Beyonce is willing to always let us into her business like that in the ways that she uses Sacred, especially in its infancy, to keep it going and to keep people wanting to purchase. And I think that what she's going to see is that now that she's done this, there's going to be a huge, massive jump and boost in sales. The problem is it's going to go right the fuck back down unless you continue to keep doing it. People don't give a fuck about the hair care. People care about seeing Beyonce's hair and hearing Beyonce's voice. And if we can't continue to hear Beyonce's voice and see her in an element that doesn't feel curated, even though this ad was very curated, then people continue to lose interest. And so I'm going to keep my pulse on this. I'm going to listen and keep my ears to the streets and figure out how people are really feeling about this. But y'all let me know in the comments if y'all agree. Do y'all think that this stunt worked for a good time or a long time? Because it's leaning a little bit on good time for me. And I'm just not necessarily sure if it's a sustainable business model for somebody who wants to be so anonymous as it pertains to her personal life, including her hair. So that's just that on that times that. With that being said, I have my final thoughts. I usually wait and the final thoughts things pops up, but it didn't. My production just made me look stupid. Anyway. So basically, you all, for this week's final thoughts, it's do you. And do you at all costs. I think that as it pertains to the issue, whether it be Caitlyn getting her money, whether it be men being able to wear men bags, whether it be people creating pranks or Beyonce releasing information that she historically has not been comfortable doing thus far. Do what makes you happy, but understand that there are consequences for everything that you do. Understand that if you settle, you're going to have to continue to settle. Understand that if you put things out, that people are going to expect more. And understand that you have the right to walk away from things that do not serve you. At the end of the day, you get to make a choice about the way that the world sees you, how you want to be seen, and how those things show up when people get to go into looking back at the way that, you know, you posted or pretended to be this entity, especially when moments like this pop up. Especially when moments like this pop up that are like small blips in your life, right? So do you in a way that is going to fit the long-term narrative of how you show up and not just you in the ways that are going to fit the right now. It would have been easy for that young man to sit there and try to justify his man bag. He didn't. He did him. It would be easy for Caitlyn to go on this big old, you know, media tirade and talk about how she deserves more money. She's not, because either she's content with it or she's handling it in a way that works for her. It would be easy for Beyonce to continue to ignore us and never show her hair, but she didn't. She decided that she wanted to become more personal, let us in on something that we've all wanted to know for years. And that might bite her in the butt, but she did what she wanted to do anyway. And as sucky as some of these pranks are, as sucky as some of the topic of these pranks are, those people do what they do because it serves somebody's audience, even if that audience member is not me. So with that being said, y'all, do you for the rest of this week and see how that goes. Let me know how y'all feel about these topics in the comments, and I will see y'all around. Bye, everybody.
Talk to me nicely. I noticed they heated, we getting icy. Whoa, can't forget all the moments they overpriced me. So now that we up, don't good advice, we know.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.